Motivation is a wonderful feeling. It gives us energy, excitement, and the push to begin something new. But here's the truth that most people don't like to hear. Motivation fades. It comes and goes like the weather. One day you wake up inspired, ready to take on the world. The next day, you can't even find the will to start. That's why relying on motivation alone is dangerous. If you only act when you feel motivated, you'll never build momentum, and you'll never reach the level of success you're capable of. The real secret isn't motivation. It's discipline. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward long after motivation has disappeared. Discipline means doing what you said you would do, even when you don't feel like it. It's about keeping promises to yourself, showing up no matter what, and pushing through discomfort when your emotions are telling you to stop. Motivation is driven by how you feel. Discipline is driven by your commitment to your goals. The truth is, you won't always feel ready, inspired, or confident. But discipline doesn't care about your feelings, it cares about your actions. And actions, repeated over time, create results. Think about the people you admire, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders. What separates them from everyone else isn't talent alone, it's their consistency. They practice when no one's watching. They train when they're tired. They keep moving when others give up. That's discipline. The best performers in any field understand that consistency matters more than intensity. It's not about working hard for one day. It's about showing up every single day, even when it's boring, uncomfortable, or difficult. The truth is, discipline is uncomfortable at first. It asks you to do things you don't want to do. It forces you to wake up early, to study longer, to say no to distractions. But over time, what once felt like a burden becomes a habit, and that habit becomes part of who you are. When you make discipline a part of your identity, it no longer feels forced. It feels natural. You stop needing to push yourself because consistency becomes your normal state. Motivation gives you the spark to start, but discipline gives you the strength to finish. You can't control your emotions. They'll change every day, but you can control your actions. And when your actions stay consistent, the results will follow. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you grow stronger. Every time you do the work instead of making excuses, you move closer to your goals. Success is never about luck or talent alone. It's about persistence. When you understand this, you stop waiting for the right time. You stop waiting to feel ready. You start acting now because you realize that feelings don't build success. Habits do. The people who reach the top are not the ones who always feel motivated. They're the ones who do what's necessary even when they don't want to. That's what it means to force yourself to be consistent. So the next time you don't feel like doing the work, remind yourself feelings are temporary, but the satisfaction of discipline lasts forever. Motivation might get you started, but it's discipline that keeps you going. When you master discipline, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, there's nothing in this world that can stop you. Success rarely happens overnight. It's not a sudden moment of luck or a single breakthrough that changes everything. It's the quiet, steady accumulation of small steps taken day after day. Every great achievement in history, every successful person you admire has been built on this truth. Small steps create big results. Consistency in small actions compounds into something far greater than we can imagine. The challenge, though, is that most people underestimate the power of those small steps because they don't produce instant results. We live in a world that glorifies speed, quick success, instant fame, overnight transformations. But real, lasting success doesn't work that way. It's built in silence, through daily effort and persistence. Think about a seed planted in the ground. For weeks it shows no visible sign of life. You water it, nurture it, and nothing seems to happen. But beneath the soil, roots are forming, foundations are strengthening. Then one day the seed breaks through the surface and begins to grow. That's how consistency works. Every small effort you make, even when it feels invisible, is strengthening your foundation. The progress may be slow, but it's progress nonetheless. Those who give up too soon never see the results of their early effort. They quit before the breakthrough. Every small step matters. Reading a few pages a day, exercising for 20 minutes, practicing your skill for half an hour, these actions might seem insignificant, but when repeated over weeks, months, and years, they transform you. What you do daily becomes who you are. The person who studies a little each day becomes knowledgeable. The person who trains consistently becomes strong. The person who practices gratitude daily becomes happier. The small steps you take today shape the person you'll become tomorrow. The problem is that people often chase big changes and quick wins. They start with excitement, expecting dramatic results immediately. But when the results don't come fast enough, they lose interest, believing their efforts are wasted. The truth is, every great success story is built on boring, repetitive actions, the kind no one applauds. It's waking up early when no one else does, putting in the extra effort when it seems pointless, and doing it again and again without seeing visible progress. That's where character is built. That's where momentum is created. Consistency doesn't mean doing everything perfectly. It means doing something, however small, every single day. When you focus on small steps instead of giant leaps, you make your goals more achievable. You reduce the pressure of perfection and create habits that last. Each small win builds confidence, and that confidence becomes the fuel to keep going. Over time, your consistency turns into mastery. What was once difficult becomes natural, and what once felt impossible becomes part of your routine. The magic of small steps lies in compounding. Just like money grows through compound interest, effort compounds through consistency. A single effort might not make a visible difference, but 100 small efforts combined create exponential results. This is why success isn't about intensity, it's about persistence. Anyone can work hard for a day, but only a few can work steadily for years. And those are the people who end up standing on top. So don't underestimate the power of doing something small today. Don't wait for the perfect plan, the right moment, or a sudden burst of motivation. Start now. Take one step, then take another and another. Before you realize it, you'll look back and see how far you've come. The journey of 1,000 miles truly begins with a single step, but it continues because you kept walking. Small steps taken consistently create unstoppable momentum. They transform dreams into goals, goals into habits, and habits into success. That's how small steps done every day lead to big results. Consistency is more than just a routine. It's a form of self-respect. Every time you commit to doing something and actually do it, you build trust in yourself. And that trust is powerful because it shapes your confidence, your mindset, and your belief in what you're capable of achieving. Many people don't realize that confidence doesn't come from success. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. When you say you're going to wake up early, exercise, study, or work on your goals, and you follow through, you prove to yourself that your words have value. That's how you build self-trust. But when you break promises to yourself, even in small ways, you start to lose that trust. You begin to doubt your abilities. You start thinking, I always quit, or I can't stay consistent. These thoughts slowly eat away at your confidence. The more you make excuses, the more you train your mind to believe you can't rely on yourself. And once you stop trusting yourself, it becomes easy to give up on your goals. That's why consistency matters, not just for results, but for your relationship with yourself. When you're consistent, you're not just working toward an external goal, you're strengthening your internal foundation. Every small act of discipline is a vote for the person you want to become. You're telling yourself, I can depend on me. And that feeling of reliability becomes the root of self-confidence. Because when you trust yourself, you stop being afraid of failure. You know that no matter what happens, you'll keep going. That's what separates people who succeed from those who don't. Success isn't just about skill or talent. It's about believing that you can follow through. Think about how much more confident you feel when you've been consistent with your habits, when you've been showing up for your workouts, sticking to your studies, or practicing your craft. You carry a different energy. You walk taller, speak clearer, and move with certainty. That's because you're proud of yourself, not because of a result, but because of the effort. You know the work you've put in, and that gives you quiet confidence. The world notices that. People can feel when you're grounded in your own discipline. Self-trust doesn't come overnight. It's built day by day, decision by decision. Sometimes it's built in the smallest of moments, when you choose to keep working instead of scrolling through your phone, when you finish what you started even though no one will notice, when you say, I'll do it, and actually do it. Each of those moments adds a brick to your foundation. Over time, those bricks create something unshakable. That's how consistency transforms you from the inside out. But here's the catch: you can't fake it. You can't build self-trust by talking about what you'll do. You build it by doing. Your mind pays attention to your actions more than your intentions. So if you say you'll start tomorrow and you don't, your mind learns that your words are empty. But if you say you'll start now, and you do even for 5 minutes, your mind learns that you're serious. That's how you reprogram yourself to be disciplined. Being consistent also helps silence self-doubt. When you're inconsistent, every setback feels like proof that you're not good enough. But when you've been consistent, a bad day doesn't define you. It's just a small bump on a long journey. You start seeing failure differently. You stop taking it personally because you trust your ability to keep going. That trust turns pressure into patience. You no longer panic when things don't work immediately because you know consistency will bring results eventually. So, if you want to build confidence, stop chasing perfection and start keeping promises to yourself. Start with something small. Do it every day. Make it non-negotiable. Over time, that small act of discipline will transform your mindset. You'll stop needing external validation because your self-worth will come from within. You'll look in the mirror and see someone reliable, someone strong, someone you can count on. That's what consistency gives you. Self-trust. And once you trust yourself, you become unstoppable because you know you can handle whatever comes your way. Perfection is a trap that stops more people from growing than failure ever does. So many of us hesitate to start something because we're afraid it won't be perfect. We tell ourselves we'll begin when we have more time, more skill, or more confidence, but that moment rarely comes. The truth is, perfection is an illusion. There will never be a perfect time, and your first attempt will never be flawless. Waiting for perfection only delays your progress. What truly matters is progress, slow, steady, consistent improvement. It's far better to move forward imperfectly than to stand still waiting for everything to align. Progress means showing up, even when you make mistakes. It means taking action, learning, and adjusting along the way. Every successful person started somewhere, and most of them started badly. They made errors, faced setbacks, and felt uncertain, but they didn't stop. They kept going, one imperfect step at a time. Over time, their consistent effort transformed into mastery. That's the beauty of progress. You don't need to be perfect to start, you just need to start to become better. When you focus on progress, you give yourself permission to grow. You remove the pressure of having to get everything right on the first try. That mindset shift is powerful because it allows you to experiment, make mistakes, and learn. Each time you fall short, you gain insight that helps you improve. Perfection demands flawlessness, but progress values effort. And effort, when repeated over time, creates excellence. Excellence is not the absence of mistakes. It's the ability to keep improving through them. Think about how a sculptor creates a masterpiece. They don't carve the perfect shape in one stroke. They chip away, piece by piece, refining their work with patience. Each mark, each adjustment brings the sculpture closer to completion. That's what consistency does in our lives. Every small action, even if imperfect, shapes you into something greater. Every setback teaches you something valuable. The process of improvement is messy, but it's also meaningful, because in the process you discover strength, resilience, and confidence that perfection could never give you. Many people fear judgment. They're afraid of being seen trying and failing. But the truth is, nobody who's successful got there without looking foolish at some point. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is that successful people don't let fear stop them. They understand that imperfection is part of growth. They know that every mistake brings them closer to mastery. So instead of hiding behind the need to be perfect, they focus on being consistent. They understand that small, steady progress will always outlast short bursts of perfectionism. Perfectionism kills momentum and makes you overthink, procrastinate, and doubt yourself. You spend so much time planning that you forget to act. But progress thrives on movement. Even a small step forward is better than standing still. When you prioritize progress, you build momentum, and momentum creates motivation. Every little improvement you see fuels your desire to keep going. Before you know it, those small gains turn into massive transformation. You don't have to improve by 100 ppm overnight, you just have to aim for 1 ppm better each day. 1% may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time it compounds into incredible results. Imagine getting just a little stronger, smarter, or more disciplined every single day for a year. That's 365 opportunities for growth. Consistency multiplies effort, and progress becomes inevitable. The key is to stay patient. Real growth doesn't happen instantly. It happens gradually through daily practice and small victories that add up. When you make progress your goal, you become kinder to yourself. You stop beating yourself up for mistakes and start seeing them as lessons. You replace guilt with gratitude, gratitude for the chance to improve. You learn to celebrate small wins instead of waiting for the perfect outcome. That shift in mindset builds resilience and keeps you moving forward, even when things get hard. So stop waiting to be perfect. Stop holding back because you think you're not ready. No one ever feels fully ready. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. It doesn't matter if it's messy, slow, or imperfect. What matters is that you're moving. Progress, no matter how small, is always better than perfection that never happens. Over time, your small efforts will stack up. The rough edges will smooth out. The mistakes will turn into experience. And one day, you'll look back and realize that by choosing progress over perfection, you didn't just reach your goal, you became stronger, wiser, and more capable along the way. Showing up. It sounds simple, almost too simple to matter, but in truth, it's one of the most powerful habits you can develop. Half of success in any field comes down to the decision to show up, to be there, to take action, even when you don't feel like it. Because when you show up, you give yourself a chance. And when you keep showing up day after day, that chance turns into progress, and that progress turns into success. Most people fail not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they stop showing up when things get hard. They underestimate the quiet strength that comes from consistency. The power of showing up lies in persistence. When you show up regularly to your goals, to your responsibilities, to your dreams, you build momentum. It doesn't matter if you don't perform your best every time. What matters is that you're present. Some days you'll feel motivated and unstoppable. Other days you'll struggle just to take a single step. But showing up on both good days and bad days creates something priceless. Discipline. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, not what you feel like doing. It's the bridge between your current self and your future success. Every time you show up, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. If you want to be a writer, every time you sit down to write, even if you only manage a few sentences, you're reinforcing that identity. If you want to be fit, every time you go to the gym, even when you don't have the energy, you're strengthening that identity. Consistency builds identity, and identity fuels action. The more you show up, the more you see yourself as someone who follows through. That's where true confidence begins. The truth is, most people give up right before their efforts start to pay off. They work hard for a while, see little progress, and decide it's not worth it. But those who keep showing up through the boredom, frustration, and setbacks are the ones who eventually see results. Success doesn't come to those who work hard once in a while. It comes to those who refuse to quit, who keep taking steps forward no matter how small. Every time you show up, you're getting closer to your goal, even if it's not visible yet. Progress often happens silently, in the background, and only becomes obvious after consistent effort. Showing up also builds resilience. Life will always test you. There will be days when everything feels heavy, when nothing seems to go right. But when you've built the habit of showing up, you don't crumble under pressure. You've trained yourself to move forward despite the storm. You've proven to yourself that you can keep going, even when the odds are against you. That kind of strength isn't developed overnight. It's built through repetition, through the daily decision to keep showing up no matter what. There's also something magnetic about consistency. When you show up again and again, the world begins to take notice. Opportunities start to appear. People start to trust you. You become known as someone reliable, someone who delivers, whether in work, relationships, or personal goals. Reliability is one of the most valuable traits a person can have. It attracts respect, trust, and success, and it all begins with showing up, not once, but continuously. It's important to understand that showing up doesn't always mean performing at 100%. Some days you'll give your all. Other days you might only manage 50%. But showing up at 50% is still better than not showing up at all. Even small efforts add up when they're consistent. The secret is not in perfection, but in persistence. By being there, by doing something, anything, you maintain momentum. And momentum is what turns effort into achievement. When you show up consistently, you build a rhythm. That rhythm turns into habit, and habit turns into lifestyle. Soon, what once required willpower becomes automatic. You stop debating whether to do it or not, you just do it. And that's when everything changes. Because when showing up becomes second nature, success becomes inevitable. So even when you're tired, even when progress feels invisible, even when no one's watching, show up. Keep your commitment to yourself. Each time you do, you're not just moving closer to your goals, you're becoming stronger, more disciplined, and more dependable. The power of showing up is quiet, but it's unstoppable. It transforms effort into momentum and momentum into achievement. Keep showing up, because every great success story begins with someone who refused to stop trying. When you commit to consistency, life begins to change in ways you can't always see at first. The truth is, when you keep showing up, working hard, and staying disciplined, things start to align naturally. What once felt chaotic and uncertain begins to make sense. The opportunities you've been waiting for start to appear. The people you need to meet cross your path. The skills you've been practicing finally start to pay off. It may not happen overnight, but it always happens. Because consistency creates momentum, and momentum makes everything fall into place. At the beginning of any journey, it's easy to feel lost. You might not see progress, and sometimes it feels like you're moving in circles. But every small effort you make is planting seeds. The problem is, most people quit before those seeds have a chance to grow. They stop because they can't see results right away. But just because progress isn't visible doesn't mean it's not happening. Growth often happens silently, under the surface, out of sight, until one day it shows itself in ways you never expected. The key is patience. You have to keep showing up, trusting that your consistency will eventually bring results. When you're consistent, you build a rhythm that the universe seems to respond to. It's almost as if life rewards persistence. The opportunities that once seemed out of reach start to move toward you because your steady effort attracts progress. You stop forcing things to happen and start allowing them to unfold. That's when everything begins to fall into place. Your habits, mindset, and environment begin to align with your goals. What once felt like hard work starts to feel like flow. The process becomes smoother, not because it's easier, but because you've become stronger and more capable. Consistency transforms not just what you achieve, but who you become. It teaches patience, resilience, and focus. You learn to trust the process rather than chase quick results. You begin to understand that every day of hard work, every sacrifice, and every challenge is shaping you into someone who can handle success when it arrives. Many people want the reward without the preparation, but true success only stays with those who are ready for it. Consistency prepares you for that moment. It builds the character and strength needed to hold on when things finally come together. It's easy to look at someone successful and think they were lucky. But if you dig deeper, you'll find that what looks like luck is often just the result of years of persistence. They didn't stumble into success. They earned it through consistency. Day after day, they showed up, learned, adapted, and improved. Over time, their small daily actions accumulated into something extraordinary. That's why consistency is more powerful than intensity. You don't need to do everything at once. You just need to do something every day, something that moves you closer to where you want to be. Eventually, the things that once felt difficult will become effortless. The habits you struggled to maintain will become second nature. The goals that once seemed impossible will become your reality. That's what happens when everything falls into place, not because the world changed, but because you did. You trained yourself to be disciplined, patient, and focused. You stopped giving up when things got hard, and that consistency reshaped your life. You'll notice that as you stay consistent, your perspective shifts. Instead of focusing on the finish line, you start to appreciate the process. You stop chasing results and start enjoying the routine. You realize that success isn't a single moment. It's the sum of everything you do daily. And in that realization, life begins to feel lighter, more meaningful, and more rewarding. Everything that used to feel like a struggle begins to align because you've built the habits and mindset that attract success naturally. So when you feel impatient, remember this: progress takes time. The path might be slow, but it's leading somewhere beautiful. Don't rush the process. Keep your focus, keep your discipline, and keep your faith. Life has a way of rewarding those who refuse to quit. You may not always see how the pieces are coming together, but trust that they are. Every effort, every challenge, every lesson is part of the bigger picture. Force yourself to be consistent, even when it's hard, even when it feels pointless, because one day you'll look back and realize that everything you went through, every moment of doubt, every small effort was leading you exactly where you were meant to be. And when that day comes, you'll understand that consistency wasn't just the key to success, it was the path that made everything fall perfectly into place.